Hiya, I'm going to be completely honest, I've made this video about 5 times now and it's all changed so much that I just keep remaking it. So um, to start off, I'll just say that I've been finding it really hard to concentrate and I've been wanting to get a blog out to you, and usually I will be writing blogs like I usually do, but while I was struggling so much I thought make it easy and do a video. So I know some of you aren't keen on the videos, and a lot of you didn't seem to particularly engage with it last time, but that's fine. I'm just using this as a temporary thing, and also it's kind of nice to think that I'll have something to look back on to document the journey, if that makes sense. But regular blogging will resume soon. It's just that I've got a bit of a block and I'd rather put something up than nothing. So I think last time I spoke to you, it's a couple of weeks ago, and I went for my chemo as usual but wasn't able to have it because my platelets had dropped. They have to be above 100 and mine was 61, so I wasn't able to have my chemo that week and I had to stop my tablet chemo as well. So thankfully they started to rise. A couple of days later they'd gone up to 81, and after that they'd gone back up to 105, I think it was. So we were back on chemo a week later, which is good because obviously we don't want to keep having breaks. We want to keep the intensity up, and it seemed to work okay. But they've changed my plan. So instead of having one big dose of chemo on a day and then having 3 weeks of the oral chemo, I now have a smaller dose each week for 3 weeks. So every cycle is still 3 weeks, but I'm having a smaller dose of IV chemo each week and carrying on with the tablets, which fingers crossed seems to have worked so far. At the moment I'm on week 2 of cycle 2 and it's Sunday today, so Tuesday will be week 3 of cycle 2 and then I'll be on to cycle 3, and hopefully after that I'm not going to need another cycle. They've still not decided 100% if it's going to be 3 or 4 cycles, but that's, as I say, the plan at the moment is for another 4 weeks. Struggling a little bit more with chemo now. Nothing dire, and I think it's because, you know, I'm used to having drugs, I'm used to side effects, so in a way, like, feeling a bit sick for somebody who doesn't feel sick ever is quite hard going, but when it's me who kind of feels sick a lot of the time or feels a bit iffy on drugs, it's not such a big deal. I'm tolerating it quite well. My skin is starting to get very dry, which I'm hoping isn't going to get any worse because it can get quite sore. Fatigue is a real big problem at the moment. I've not been sleeping great, but over the last couple of days that seems to have been a bit better, so I'm hoping that's on the way out. It's just very hard having all these drugs in your system, and I'm quite lonely. Mum and Dad are obviously brilliant, but I can't get out that much when I'm so tired. I'm doing bits and pieces. Also there's the risk of infection and stuff, and since before Christmas I've had 2 visitors, so it's not anyone's fault. I think people find it really difficult to know what to say, and especially when they come over. I've had people who have been really, really awesome, just texting every day. I know that sounds stupid and it doesn't even have to be every day, but just keeping in regular contact, it does really make a difference. Even if it sounds really bad, even if I feel I can't text back on that day, it really makes a difference just to have that contact and know you're being thought about. I am also having to have, I think I might have mentioned these, I have to have bone marrow stimulating injections on certain days, and that's more now because they stimulate the white cells to grow to produce rather in my blood. So I have to have those on a Thursday and a Friday of each week. Had no problems, and then I had one and it was just horrendous. It was the worst pain I think I've ever had. Like, the bone pain in my pelvis was also sort of like doing contractions, and it was really painful, and I'd taken it at night thinking, oh, if there's any adverse effects I can sleep it off, and obviously couldn't sleep because of the pain. Thankfully since then I haven't had that. Like, I've had the jabs but I haven't had that reaction to it, which is a normal reaction. I've just had some pain which I can completely deal with, it's fine. But yeah, it's more of a mental thing at the moment. It's not completely a mental thing. I'm struggling, feeling pulled out of myself and just not right. I can't decide on anything. Do I want the window open? Do I want a blanket on? Do I want a hot drink? Do I want a cold drink? What do I want to drink? Like, it's all things like that, but 1,000,001 things, and just feeling a bit crappy and run down as well. But mentally it's really hard because I keep thinking, you know, it's a finite thing. That's what the doctor keeps telling me, and that is really helpful actually. It's a finite thing. You've got certain things you've got to do and then it will be over. But I feel like, is it? Because for me, it just feels like at the moment, well, for the last 10 years I've been dealing with transplant. For the last 20 years before that I was dealing with CF. And it's getting harder and harder to keep taking the blows, like getting back to my normal life or trying to build my life, like building relationships, friendships, trying to find the kind of career I want, building up a client base for cakes. Acting is what I've always wanted to do. It's the one thing that's kept me going through all the tough times, but every single time I try and get into that industry or find leads or start doing something, you know, you go along and it's, oh, cancer, that's got to take all my attention. There's nothing that's more important than me dealing with this at the moment. And before that, I know it was to a lesser extent, but it was all the broken bones in my feet and having to keep wearing the air boot and struggling to get around because of the fatigue and the boot and the crutches. And, you know, we had problems to start with transplant. So it just feels that whenever I try to build my own life, it gets taken away from me. And there's only so many times that I can bounce back from that. And I know it's a question of, well, what else you can do? You're just not going to live because you're worried. But it's hard mentally, and it's hard to get any motivation. At the moment I seem quite normal and calm, but I have been really down and struggling with stuff like that because, you know, you feel like you've got nothing in common with people and they can't understand your trepidation, if you like. And if there was something, you know, like if I had the promise of help or something that I was looking forward to and that I could aim for afterwards with regard to the acting, or, you know, an opportunity or something. But when it's just all these small things and I think, oh, that's really good, I'm really excited about that, and then something comes and just wipes that out of the equation completely because I've got to focus my attention on health, it's quite hard going. And at the moment I can't plan anything, I can't look forward to anything because I've got no idea what's going to happen with treatment. It could all be over, like, you know, by sort of August time. It might not be over ever. It could come back, it could spread, I don't know. I've got no idea, and that's really hard to cope with. So I hope you don't mind this update, and I'm sorry it's a bit longer than I actually wanted it to be, but I just wanted to kind of get that out of me and talk about how I feel. And then the next couple of posts I can kind of write a bit easier, maybe. I will try and do a chemo, because now chemo is on Tuesday every week. I will try and do you a day in life chemo, if that's something you'd be interested in. I know, like, some of you aren't keen on the videos, and that is absolutely fine. I'm going to put my Twitter and Facebook and Instagram stuff down below so that you can follow other places in case you want to know anything, and, you know, feel free to ask any questions. But yeah, I'm still here, I'm still going, just about, and I've got no real intention of stopping doing that. It just wears on you and gets really hard, and, you know, it would be nice to have some things to look forward to, but at the moment that's not really possible. I do get 6 weeks off from chemo before surgery. Very worried about surgery still, but having to put that out of my mind. So hopefully there might be an opportunity, but again, I don't want to book myself in all these little treats and then think, well, I'm just shattered from treatment, there's nowhere I can do any of this. So it's all up in the air at the moment, but I'm trying to get there. I hope you're all doing well, and thank you for all your love and support, and I'll be back in a more regular form hopefully soon. Probably still small video updates, but back to blogging soon. Bye!